Hello, hello. It's Kimberly, your astrologer friend, and get ready because I think Zoom is messing me around with the audio, but we'll see how we go. It is New Year. We have a new moon. Let's talk about it. Let's dive in to see the chart for the Capricorn new moon that literally rounds off the end of our year. If you're in the part of the world that I am in, which is I'm currently in Tokyo, if you're in Hong Kong, if you're in Australia, you will be having the new moon in the morning of the 31st of December. If you happen to be anywhere else like London or America, you'll be having the new moon on the 30th. But either way, it's an incredible time for new beginnings. We're almost into New Year. Many people reflect on their New Year resolutions at this time. I'm affirming for you, it's an amazing time to write down or be intentional about what you're hoping will happen. Oh, good, I'm recording. Just looking at that, thinking, am I recording this? Anyway, so write down your intentions. I personally love to create mood boards on Pinterest. It's a bit full on, but still, it can be fun if you have something in mind, if you wanted to start a craft, if you wanted to start something that's very visual. I personally love Pinterest, and they have this new collaging tool, so I love that as well. But yeah, New Year's is all about taking a moment. And look, it's now, for me, I'm recording this, it's just turned into the 31st. So New Year's is all about slowing down and finding a moment to be intentional about the year ahead. And it's about rounding off the year that has just gone, being grateful for all that's transpired, if we can find it in our hearts to be grateful, or at least raking up a few memories to see what has changed, shifted, where we've been challenged, where we've done some really deep digging and hard work. And the reason I'm talking about that in that way is because we have waved goodbye permanently to Pluto in Capricorn this year. Pluto has moved into Aquarius for the next 2 decades, but we have experienced the last hurrah of Pluto in Capricorn. We've still got Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, and these two signs have been really dominant and prominent for the last few years, particularly around the time that COVID kicked off. We had so many planets in Capricorn. This is a Capricorn new moon that we're experiencing right now. And so we can be really intentional about the area that Capricorn rules for us. If you know your horoscope chart well, or if you know your horoscope chart a little bit, you'll want to look at what Capricorn rules in that area of your horoscope. What area of your horoscope does Capricorn preside over? And do you have planets there in Capricorn that you can work with? The new moon is at 9 degrees. So if you did have a planet at 9 degrees, it might be aspecting it. So we've got the new moon in Capricorn, and the ruler of the new moon is Saturn in Pisces, co-present with Neptune. So just again, Neptune's been in Pisces since 2011, 2012, and Capricorn and Pluto was in Capricorn between 2008, 2009, all the way to 2024. So it's all about understanding within ourselves, how has my life been touched by Neptune and more recently Saturn and Pluto and now this new moon. So if we can sort of get our brains into that gear, if we can think about that, it's really useful because the planets right now are conspiring to help us to focus in on that particular area of life. So let me just share the my screen, my desktop with you guys. I absolutely love Zoom for the ability for me to record this way. So this is just a stripped back version of the chart that we're looking at for now, for the new moon in Capricorn. It's coming in about 7 hours time. So sorry to get this out so late, but nevertheless. Anyhow, so we've got Sun, Moon, and Pallas Athena all here in Capricorn at 9 degrees and 11 degrees. And Pallas Athena is an asteroid. And Pallas Athena is an asteroid of wisdom, warfare, and handicraft. But she's also the daughter of Zeus. She was a cherished daughter who was almost like a tomboy. She was very scientific. She was very strategic. I think she's very night oriented. I think the moon is her celestial object. I haven't brushed up on her recently. I've only just got my books out of storage, but from the top of my head, I know she's very science based. I know she's very pattern recognition based. She's also about handicraft and art, but it's kind of in a way where she's quite tomboyish. So when I'm looking at this particular new moon, I'm seeing that we've got the power of strategy on side. We've got the power of creativity, but it's quite industrious creativity. It's quite strategic creativity. And that's why I'm liking mood boarding so much as a medium. Now, we've also got here Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury is not happy in Sagittarius. However, we've been working with Mercury, in this sign for some time now. And, Mercury is no longer retrograde. So let's just appreciate that while we might not be completely, fully functional mentally, at least we're getting there. We're somewhat in the room. Mercury is out of its opposition to Jupiter. So I'm not going to labor that point. I did miss last month's full moon. But needless to say, Mercury Jupiter has been a whole conversation in itself and it's over. So let's not worry about that. However, what we do have going on at this new moon, which is punchy, is Mars retrograde is opposite Pluto now in Aquarius. So that is testy, really, really, really a very volatile energy. It's about power dynamics, guys. Pluto is the planet of control, manipulation, power, the strong iron fists, the real galvanizing energy there. It's like the momentum of, you know, pressure and control. It's like the real, and it's in fixed sign Aquarius. So ideas being really stubborn. And then Mars is, of course, the planet of war. Mars is the planet of gunfire, cars racing, and go, go, go. And it's retrograde. So it's not fully functioning on go, go, go mode, but we're having this push-pull between Mars and Pluto. So very uncomfortable terrain that we're moving closer to that permeates the current skies above, as above, so below. And so we're going to see this happen again when Mars appears direct in Leo in the months to come, but we'll cover that again. But just look out for any wrestling that's going on. If there's any tension that you're feeling at the moment as an undercurrent, pressure points, really feeling, explosive, or, some kind of push-pull, that could be the common denominator, the explaining situation there. So we've got Jupiter, as I said. Jupiter is out of the conversation right now. I'm not going to go on too much about Jupiter. Venus is in Aquarius, co-present with Pluto. And Venus, and then we've also got Ceres in air sign Aquarius as well. So quite a lot of activity going on in air sign Aquarius. Pluto, newly there. Ceres, which is the asteroid of withholding and giving. Okay, so Ceres is Demeter. Demeter is in charge of bringing forth spring. When she's in a good mood, she says, let there be light. But Ceres right now is in Aquarius. Aquarius is very cold. I don't know about you, but I'm cold here in Tokyo. But it feels to me like we've got some quite candid energy going on here. This kind of cold, unforgiving energy going on. I don't know about you, but that's how it's speaking to me, and I'm feeling that in the real life, you know. We've also got Black Moon Lilith over here and this on the South Node. So this energy was prevalent a couple of months ago. I think it was around September. I'm going to have to be better at my dates keeping. But basically, this was when the elections were going on or pre-election. Black Moon Lilith on the South Node was very hot or like active when talks were going on during the elections about abortions. And if you see here, we've got the sun and the moon square to Black Moon Lilith. The sun and the moon aren't exactly square the nodal axis at one, but Pluto is sextile the nodal axis. And so what I'm seeing here is Mars trine the north node opposite Pluto, Pluto trine the south node. So there's actually a mystic rectangle in our skies with this one. And new beginnings is what it's all about. Okay, so we've got the old things that are transpiring, which is Capricorn, the old, it's a new beginning, but in old terrain. If we've all been focused on this mountain, on this Capricorn mountain, we're having a new beginning in that area of life, which is not necessarily cohesive with this new beginning that we're inching towards. And to me, it's speaking to me a lot about America, about the new chapter that we're in for the new president. You know, I'm not actually American and I haven't been following it, but it's to do with that. So I won't labor the point too much, but it's very much speaking to me about that. Anyway, moving on, I want to speak about a lot on this video, so I'm just going to whiz through some different things here. So Pluto in Capricorn, it was there since 2008, 2009. Pluto was present in Saturn's sign. So Pluto, which is the contemporary ruler of Scorpio, Pluto is the lord of the underworld. Pluto is Hades, but he's operating in this mountainous terrain, this ambitious terrain, this terrain that is all about status, how successful we are, and how we're going the distance, how we're proving ourselves. And so this list has been created. I did take a couple of ideas from somebody on Threads, but I pretty much made most of it myself. And this is just note taking for interest, but I thought I'll share it with you guys so you can kind of get your head into the Capricorn terrain. And let's think about all the stuff that's gone on during Pluto in Capricorn. So, Pluto in Capricorn gave us Succession, the TV show Succession. So, I don't know if you guys watched that one. I personally loved it. It's about a very powerful family who run a media conglomerate. So that was really fascinating. So we had Succession, we had recessions, we had Bitcoin, and there were also references to The Firm by Meghan Markle, which was the royal family. So here we're seeing in our collective consciousness references to powerhouses and the word firm being very Saturnian. Saturn is all about boundaries, Saturn's all about limits and lines because Saturn is the last planet that we can see with the human eye. So on a really clear night in the skies, we do actually get to see Venus, we do get to see Jupiter, and we can even see Saturn. But beyond that, we need telescopes. Okay, so the ancients were well aware of Saturn. The ancients were well aware of Venus, Mars, the moon. Of course, we all see the moon quite a lot of the time, more frequently, depending on how often you're out at night or at dusk or whatever. Anyway, we also had during Pluto in Capricorn, baby shark, which I thought was really interesting. So sharks are quite Saturnian animals, I would think, even though sharks are quite marsy because they have sharp teeth, the idea of a shark is kind of Wall Street, like kind of like um, a symbol of somebody who is cutthroat and ambitious and ruthless. And that to me speaks of this whole Capricorn time period that we've been in. Also, when we sing Baby Shark, it's mummy shark, daddy shark, I think grandparent shark as well. And so it's really about status and authority and the family and the who's the head of the family. I don't know if I'm reaching there, but to me it makes sense. We had the wall during the first election of Donald Trump, when he was talking about build the wall, build the wall. Walls are again a structure that is Saturnian in nature. Saturn is all about boundaries, the skin, the boundaries that are erected to keep one in, one out. So we also had Brexit, which is kind of a wall or a boundary that's being drawn. We had Game of Thrones, which was a huge wall if you watched Game of Thrones. And the sentiment of Game of Thrones was winter is coming. The bleak midwinter is so Capricornian, winter solstice, hunkering down, getting used to it being cold and dark, being very used to it being cold and dark. We also had Frozen, the movie Frozen, and I haven't done a deep dive into the story of Frozen, but there are obviously commentaries that I am interested in. Not that interested, clearly, otherwise I would have read it. But I think the theme of Frozen, I think it's obviously to do with sisters. And if anyone knows the answer if anyone knows about Frozen, drop a comment. But I'm sure in some way Frozen is Capricorn in essence. Also, let's remember that Capricorn is a feminine earth sign. And so the interesting thing about, which I'll touch on later, is about women and women and men in a position of power. Let's think about the women, for example, the Queen in Bridgerton, and also the fact that Saturn has a color associated with it, thanks to William Lilly, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the ancient astrologer who told us that Saturn's color was black or dark colors. And so we've had a lot of black women in positions of power coming off well. We've also had some black men, Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, R. Kelly. Like it's been interesting, like for me to see that the notorious nature of black women, black men. And I'm not saying that because Pluto's been in a feminine earth sign that the women have come off better. Um, you know, Meghan Markle, I know the press have been really hard on her, but I personally like, if not love, Meghan Markle. I absolutely adore her. I loved her wedding to Harry. I loved the love story, but she's a Cancer rising, like me. So sue me. I like Meghan Markle a lot. And she's a brown woman. So we have Meghan Markle. We also had Michelle Obama, another really commendable black woman. And Michelle Obama is a Capricorn. So I love that. Anyway, we've got more of that down the list. Chin plants and contouring. The bones and the bone structure are Saturnian because Saturn rules structures, walls, the skin, and the very bones that we have holding us up. So chin plants and contouring, this has all been a development in Pluto in Capricorn. So if you had a chin plant, maybe you're a Capricorn rising, or if you've been obsessed with contouring, maybe you're a Capricorn rising. We also had 50 shades of grey, black, and brown, dark brown being the colors of Capricorn, black, pink, and black mirror. So, this emphasis, and maybe you have other examples yourself of Capricorn themes that have been touched upon. There's also been some songs like You Gotta Go to Work, which was a song, I'm not going to sing it, but that was a song during Pluto and Capricorn, not from Blackpink. and also other songs that I've got a Spotify playlist for Capricorn. I think Avicii is a Capricorn, or there's another guy who's got loads of planets in Capricorn. Anyway, I might expand on this list and publish it somewhere. The Hunger Games were also a movie series released during Pluto and Capricorn. Hunger, leanness, starvation, and thinness being a very Saturnian principle as well. So I've already mentioned Saturn is the planet of time, and TikTok has been invented and launched during Pluto and Capricorn. Black Lives Matter was huge during Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. Unemployment and the loneliness epidemic. Again, Saturn is all about leanness, loneliness, hardship, the bleak midwinter, all these things that are transpiring for us, or, you know, in our lifetime during this astrological transit. I mentioned the Queen in Bridgerton before, not just the Queen, but the Queen's friend, two really lovely Black women actresses, but also one of them starred in an advert at Christmas, and there was a lot of, I think it was the Boots advert. Again, I didn't retweet it or whatever, but I just noticed it. And again, like Pluto in Capricorn being a bit about commercialism and big business and shopping and, industry and keeping things going. So yeah, Black Mirror, I've accidentally written that twice. Caitlyn Jenner, that also happened during Pluto in Capricorn. Lizzo has been a really, really strong character throughout this time as well. She's, I think, Leo rising, Taurus. We've also had Stranger Things and Beetlejuice giving us a lot of throwback to the 90s. And of course, the 90s were a time when Neptune was in Capricorn. We had trad wives, so traditional wives and mob wives, powerful females. So again, so if you don't know what trad wives are, where have you been? Trad wives also came in during Jupiter in Taurus, but Pluto in Capricorn being part of that too. It's all about being a homemaker, making things from scratch, perhaps being on the farm, which is very Taurus, and trad wives being a feminine archetype, the wife, but perhaps the one, maybe being the one in charge, being the one, the matriarch, right? Mob wives, another matriarch. So the mob wife aesthetic, being big fur jackets, lots of money, status, importance. So again, powerful females. We had the old money aesthetic. So just give these terms a little Google on Pinterest, a little search on Pinterest. There was also a pushback on fast fashion, which was again Uranus in Taurus. But the pushback on fast fashion is also about appreciation of craftsmanship, appreciation of things that cost money, appreciation of, um, you know, things that are Capricorn, valuable, time, craft. This is all very Saturnian principles. I always like to think that crochet, not crocheting, but lace is a Capricorn material. And of course, if you followed my blog, Star Sign Style, forever, one of my first posts was Capricorn rules lace because it takes hours of time, time being Saturnian, and just knowing Venus in Capricorn people. My husband's a Venus in Capricorn person and loves this saying that is all about buy once, never buy again. I don't know what the saying is, but it's like buy something that's quality and you'll pay less than you would if you bought three pairs of cheap boots. There's a lot of that at the moment on Netflix as well, like critiquing fast fashion. Very Uranus in Taurus, very Pluto in Capricorn. Hustle culture, being a boss babe, girl boss, it's all happened since Pluto's in Capricorn. I speak with my friend Laura about this a lot. And the term goat, GOAT, that's come up since Pluto's been in Capricorn, the sign of the sea goat, the goat. Greatest of all time, GOAT. Squid Games has also been a Pluto and Capricorn TV show. So basically, any TV show that has been invented, launched, published, or indeed references to old TV shows, you know, that were perhaps a product of Neptune in Capricorn. So Squid Games is all about being the winner. And I don't know about game shows and like being the winner in a kind of comedy sense, but Squid Games is obviously a lot more morbid. There was another social media trend looking for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes. This is again an appreciation from a woman's point of view of success, marrying a man that works in finance. This is very Capricorn led, ambitious. Invisalign was huge during the COVID time. Teeth gems and veneers have been really popular, and also veneers have been very talked about during Pluto and Capricorn as well. Teeth, the bones, the skeleton, the chin, like the bones of our body, is all ruled by Saturn. And so Invisalign, getting straight teeth during this Pluto and Capricorn, that might have been one of the ways that you transformed yourself too. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge? I mean, this is a real review list. Sorry, guys, to go on and on and on. Fast forward if you don't want to hear more of it. But the ice bucket challenge. So, again, this was a charitable um, challenge run on social media to make people aware of, I believe, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I might be wrong. But the ice bucket challenge is essentially experiencing ice. What is ice? Okay, it's fixed water. So technically it should be Scorpio. But for the sake of this, we're going to say it's very wintry. It's a material of winter ice. Okay, so Capricorn season. We had the royal family scandals. And here, I just want to interject and say, of course, we're never just looking at Pluto in Capricorn. We're looking at Pluto in Capricorn and Neptune in Pisces. We're looking at these two energies in syncopation with each other because they're operating in this sextile pattern. So when we look at the Ice Bucket Challenge, on the one hand, it's celebrities and people having something to be prolific about. Like, look at me, I'm on social media. Look at me, I'm doing something. Look at me, I'm successful, I'm present, I'm here being visible. But also, I'm doing it for charity. And charity is very much a Pisces and a Neptune in Pisces principle. That leads me to the royal family scandals. We have this big family, a big firm, a big industry, a big important status-driven monarchy, but the scandals, and scandals are very Neptunian, very Neptune and Pisces. This, are they going to get caught? Is anyone going to call them out? We had Prince Andrew sweating, during this dreadful televised interview, which is all Pluto in Capricorn, Neptune in Pisces, these two corroborative themes. Big business or big royal family, big boss, Prince Andrew, plus scandal, slippery, elusive. And this goes for any of the scandals that we've had around big figures. Bill Cosby, scandal. R. Kelly, scandal, and I don't know if I've written this in, but a lot of these people have planets in Capricorn. Um, IVF, why have I put that? Pluto opposite Cancer. I'm not sure why I've got to put IVF there. You versus the man. You better work, go to work, work from home. These are obviously the lyrics. These are just notes. I haven't even read through them. June, the movie June, being a very desolate landscape, but also I believe June was written during Saturn in Pisces, so June was having its Saturn return. Keto, Ozempic, and thinness. This is again a throwback to the 90s where we had heroin chic, which was Neptune in Capricorn. So Pluto in Capricorn then reminds us of, why is that A happening? It's because I've got the Japanese dictionary, the uh, Japanese typing on my computer now because I'm in Japan learning Japanese. So thinness is very Saturnian again. So then I've got R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, Brett Kavanaugh, someone who is in a position of power, a Capricornian powerhouse. We've got Ghislaine Maxwell, also a Capricorn. And then I've put Pete Davidson, David Beckham, and Johnny Depp. They all have Capricorn moons. So they've all had interesting stories. I'm sure you know. A bit about David Beckham, but he also had a documentary about him and his story, which was interesting as, his Capricorn moon was being aspected. Johnny Depp, similar, same. And then Pete Davidson is a mega Scorpio, but he has the moon in Capricorn. Will Smith has also had some scandal around him with his slapping Chris Rock. And I've put Dark Matter Berlin. Dark Matter Berlin. I don't know what that is. I don't know what I was intending to go back to and research, but I'm sure I'll get to it one day. We have Kate Moss, Kate Middleton, and Michelle Obama are women Capricorns. And of course, Kate Middleton with her cancer, um, you know, martyrdom as well. It's not the right word, but Pisces vibes. Kate Moss got sober, I believe, and Michelle Obama has been doing loads of charity work. We've also got Naomi Campbell, Kylie Jenner, and Ariana Grande, who are all Capricorn risings. And so they've been through very personal transformations too. David Bowie died. He was a Capricorn. Anthony Bourdain, Capricorn moon. Naya Rivera died on a lake. Very interesting story during Pluto in Capricorn. Tragic. Caroline Flack, the Queen, and Prince Philip as well. The Queen being a Capricorn rising. Philip, a Gemini. Can't remember what his rising sign is. And here are some other ones that were from the other list that I saw on threads. Standing on business, high value discussions, veneer, crown, tooth gems and grills trends, an uprise in entrepreneurship and self-employment, iconic, goat or goated, obsession over age gaps and buzzwords associated like predator and grooming, and then a sense of lack. So that's a list that will grow and grow, I'm sure. But the reason I wanted to point out that list is because they're themes of Capricorn. So let's go through sign by sign about what this Capricorn new moon is potentially giving you a new beginning to focus on. But also, let's also think about how your life, your world has transformed since Pluto has trudged through the house of your horoscope. Okay, let's take a little moment to break and reset. So, for the Aries, if you have Aries as your first house, if you're an Aries rising, or indeed if you are an Aries sun sign, Pluto has been transiting your 10th house, and the new moon is a new beginning, and you have a new year focus in your 10th house of prestige, career, long-term visions, your future mission, the things that you want to do in the world to be a leader, to impact and, basically move forward on your career path or with your brand or with how you're seen as a parent, as an authority, as a leader, with the theme of Saturn in Pisces guiding and inspiring you too. So this is about letting go, spirituality. So there are a couple of Aries risings that I know, and both of them, it's not necessarily that they are status driven at all, and it's not that they are big business people, but they have both become very visible in a sense, stepping up into their career and having beautiful spiritual journeys as well. So if you're that Aries rising, acknowledging success, acknowledging, your career, your path of work and business, and stepping into being visible. So maybe you're being a leader, you're visible in a sense, at work and stepping up in that way. It's Aries rising. So this is your new beginning to move forward on that path. Be inspired. How do you want to show up? What do you want to um, look like? But also what kind of, and I wouldn't say message, but like what would you like to share with the people that are paying attention to you as you're visible there? Taurus and Taurus rising, the new moon is in your house of long distance travel, wisdom, growth, personal development, higher education, theology, philosophy, publishing, and just general personal expansion. But also, this is the house of bureaucracy, of other opinions, other perspectives. So, how are you reaching and leaning into acknowledging others' outlook on life, other people's perspectives? Are you listening? Are you hearing how other people live their life? And are you open? This is a real openness for Taurus, Taurus rising, like open up and sort of absorb um, more, and I would say more compassion, but lean into the journey, Taurus, Taurus rising, because you're on it. And Saturn is touching your social environment, your network of people. So, understanding you are at one with the universe, you're at one with your community, your peer group, and you're leaning in to knowledge, you're leaning into wisdom, you're publishing, you're appearing very public, and you may be also stepping up into a leadership position or changing your idea of being a parent, but or a guide or somebody of importance, a VIP, somebody prominent and prolific. But you're working with these ideas of social and publishing. So one Taurus I know, even appearing on TV, amazing, appearing on TV, publishing, putting forward knowledge, putting forward wisdom, but also traveling and then incorporating that social fabric, that social oneness, being part of that community, Taurus. Love it for you. For the Gemini risings. So, Gemini, your ruler is Mercury in your house of relationships at the moment. And one thing I didn't touch upon is this square that we've just recovered from, which will never feel as intense as it did on Christmas Eve. But basically, we've got this square between Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces. And it was just recently triggered by that Mercury in Sagittarius. I was not present guiding you guys through it, but I'm sure you were fine. But basically, for the Gemini risings, you're on this new adventure. You've got this new spate of personal growth, but Saturn is in your house of responsibility, career path, how you are forging a name for yourself, becoming a parent, stepping up. And then this new moon is in your house of commitments, vulnerabilities, dependencies, taboo topics. So Gemini risings are having a really intense new moon experience because it's in your eighth house of, vulnerable binding ties. So if you're a Gemini, you may be finding things really confronting. Are you talking about death? Are you talking about inheritance? Are you talking about re-signing a contract? Are you talking about, something to do with your career that requires you to take a little bit of a deep dive into obligations? What am I obliged to do for my boss? What am I obliged to do for my husband or wife or my child? What am I, what have I committed to? What have I signed up to? What do I have to give? And where's the give and the take? And that being challenging given that you're on this personal journey and you're very engaged with people in big conversations right now. For the Cancers and Cancer rising, me and Meghan Markle, we've got the new moon in our seventh house of partnerships. So this is about being strategic and intentional and turning over a new leaf in one-to-ones, be it one-to-ones with a client, one-to-ones with a business partner, one-to-ones with a spouse, one-to-ones with any kind of person that we deal with intimately on a personal level. And so, yeah, Cancer risings, we are on this new journey. Scrap that. We're not on this new journey. I was just dreaming about myself. We're on this journey in relationship with people. We've completely transformed how we deal with our relationships. We may have come to terms and confronted some really bitter, dark coffee, Capricorn style, some truths about relationships and one-to-ones. How have we done it? I don't know. But we've done it through wisdom. I do know. We've done it with a dose of wisdom. Saturn and Neptune have been moving through our ninth house of knowledge. And this is a very religious house of the horoscope. It doesn't mean to say we've signed up to a cult. Maybe we have. But this is about leaning into a spiritual path, my path with astrology, your path with a soulful journey that you're on, a growth journey, a journey of wisdom, of leaning in to a specialism, knowledge, so many Cancer risings I know are the kinds of people who now have something to share of such great value. Preach and teach. That is the Cancer rising way right now. So leaning into wisdom, leaning into a spiritual journey, but also turning over that new leaf in relationships. Okay. Then Leo rising. This new moon is in your house of health, work, wellness, ritual, and well-being. So this is about the dedication you've shown to your own holistic journey, your own physical journey, your own health journey, wellness. Okay. So I know so many Leo risings who have been taking their physical constitution really seriously, and rightly so. Good for you, Leo risings. And now with Saturn and Neptune in the eighth house of binding ties, commitments, bonds, vulnerabilities. It's about knowing who you can depend on, who you can work with in a committed fashion, and what you can get from people as well. Like what are your expectations? What are your obligations to others? And what are their commitment to you? What's to gain mutually? You scratch my back, I scratch yours, What are we going to share? What are we going to share and how is that working for both of us? This is a really nice one for thinking about being on a health journey in a gym, but also trusting a personal trainer who's paid to show up with their job to do. You've got a job to do. You've got to keep things running, and so do they. So think of it like that, like who is on your team, who's on your team and who are you invested with. And then for the Virgo risings, this is a really exciting one. The new moon is in your house of pregnancy, children, and sexuality. So, how has Pluto in Capricorn transformed your ability to see yourself as a creative channel? Have you created children? Are you currently pregnant, Virgo rising, or have you experienced really big things around your sex life and your desires and your ability to perform? I don't just mean perform sexually, I mean perform on YouTube or online, you know. A lot of two Virgo risings I know have become more prolific. One is a broadcaster, doing media interviews and, showing up on camera. And that's really good or interesting for this Neptune in the seventh house and Saturn in the house of relationships as well, like being a formal, having formal interviews and so on, but then having this creative influx too, and this absolute transformation of one's ability to show one's talents and to be obsessive about one's talents too, or even obsessive about one's sexuality and, transforming that perhaps. Then we've got Libra rising. The Libra risings have potentially transformed their notion of home, parenting. They may have had confronting experiences with a parent dying, or a parent um, unmasking themselves as toxic. The Libra risings may have done some really deep diving work on their own ability to parent, or just on what their homeland and home life means to them. Libra risings, Britney Spears being a Libra rising too. So she had to really confront her father figure. She had to really confront where she was from at a very intimate, deep level. And Saturn, the planet, guiding all of this, now trudging through your house of routines, consistency, and day-to-day life. So, how is the work that you do corroborating with home, working from home, finding meaningful spiritual work that complements where you want to settle or base yourself, having a homestead, and then working to sustain that, or being selfless, consistently selfless in a or health and home situation. I wonder with Britney Spears how the next 2 decades will turn out for her relationship with her kids, seeing as that Pluto has now moved into Aquarius. But there's a few Libra risings that are very dear to my heart. And one of them during the COVID years, just this Neptune in the sixth house being really influential over one's physical health and constitution. In fact, pretty much all of the Libra risings that I know have had really interesting journeys with their health, their wellness, their well-being. But one in particular I'm thinking of is very selfless, and going through a journey of, yeah, great proportions with that Neptune in the sixth house, which is all about phlegmy, very, very, delicate constitution. Anyway, Neptune is very wet in Pisces, very phlegmatic. And so with the um, COVID being, I think, very Neptunian, very Neptune in Pisces, gross, cruise ships, mysteries, suicides, loneliness, all that stuff. Very, very, very heart wrenching, gut wrenching, Neptune and Pisces. You know, the planets have very many representation, like the planets can express themselves in so many ways. But I remember being in Hong Kong during COVID. Well, it's actually after COVID, and Hong Kong is a Aries rising country. And just they were talking about old people, it was when Jupiter was in Pisces, all the old people dying in the hospitals. And Pisces is a sign of old age, and just this Neptunian virus just flowing and flowing and flowing, and just so many people committing suicide at that time as well, which is a very Pisces self-sacrificing vibe that was just, and the cruise ships, of course, in the beginning of COVID. Anyway, that was Libra rising. And then for the Scorpio risings, here we have the Capricorn new moon in your third house of close connections and kindred spirits, communication skills, local environments, neighborhoods, and short journeys, and just your surroundings. So for the Scorpio risings, who are you in touch with? How has your perspective on your local area changed in COVID? Were you depressed during COVID? Did you find new communication skills to lean and depend on? Did you start reaching out more, And then also, or what were the communication themes during COVID? Did you have a team that you were on and you had to really draw boundaries around that team, and so on? And then now, with the fifth house activated by Saturn, what you care about, your pregnancy, your children, your fertility, your hobbies, your joy, your sense of creativity. You could be being really, really serious about that. You could be taking your heart, your joy, your self-expression, your inspiration very seriously. And now focusing on what you want to communicate and how you express it. So you could be an artist, you could be really, really serious about the art that you create and the message behind the art, or you could be really, really intentional about the neighborhood that you participate in and the people that you allow into your mind and your mindset and infiltrate your mindset and what joy that brings you, being kind of boundaried about your own sense of joy and peace and peace of mind. And then we've got Sagittarius, Sagittarius risings. Okay, so Sag rising, yes, a lot has been going on around relationships and interpersonal relationships and talking to people and writing and journaling. But the new moon is all about your earning capacity, how you feel good about yourself, how you feel good about charging money for things, how you know that you have something to give to profit. It's all about you and your own self-sufficiency, what you, how you make money, regardless of other people. This is about your finances, your money, how you cash in. And how has Pluto in Capricorn change this? It might be difficult to pin down and think about, but it might help to think about family and your role within the family fold. The money that you have, is it for your family? Is it important that you earn money so that you have a property? Is it important that you earn money to keep your responsibilities afloat in the family fold? I love my Sagittarius risings so much. I have so many examples of how this plays out and is playing out for people, but I don't really want to get too personal. But needless to say, there is always a component of family or property and one's role and contribution. So those two houses of the horoscope working together, the Capricorn house and the Pisces house. What I do and how I make a living, what I am, charging for contributing or how I'm generating cash versus the money or my sense of security, my sense of place, my sense of groundedness in my home, my family setting, in my nest, in my four walls. Then for the Capricorn risings, you are having this new moon as your own personal renaissance, your own new beginning, your own solo focus. This is about you and everybody focusing on you, but also the way that you connect, communicate, are a PR, are a journalist, are a news reporter, are a social media maven, are an expert on teaching others and teaching others a lesson, basically, in your own Capricorn way. So, Capricorn, what is it that's on your mind? What is it that you've been enjoying researching or talking about, particularly during COVID? Are you now an astrologer with a message to share? Are you an expert on healthcare and vaccines? Are you somebody with a particular writing skill, or maybe you're a poet and you didn't know it? So basically, Capricorn is enjoying this Saturn in their third house of neighbors, connection, communication, speech, language, teaching. So as a Capricorn, who you connected to, who's listening to you, who's engaged with you, and how does that make you feel about yourself and your ability to relate to others with this new moon? You can be quite clear about it. So that's Capricorn. Aquarius and Aquarius risings. Whew. How has life been during Capricorn in Pluto? Pluto in Capricorn, I mean. How has it been? What have you had to release in terms of expectations of self and other, Aquarius, expectations of self? Who am I? Who I am? Who am I? Who I am? What am I? Obviously, you're going to answer that existential question way better than I am. But to me, it's making me think of people who might have wanted to be a mother, might have wanted to be a father, might have wanted to be healthy, might have wanted to be successful, might have wanted to be a wife, a husband, all sorts of things. And how is life panning out according to expectations? Don't be too hard on yourself. Do think about how you've coped with everything, how you've surrendered your will, because all this has been happening in the 12th house of your horoscope. And the 12th house is the house of unconscious. It's everything that's going on behind the scenes. How has that shifted and transformed? And it will be important on, if you are an Aquarius, the house of your horoscope that your sun is in. Contact me with questions if you want to deep dive into that. And Saturn now in your second house of self-worth, income, earnings, money. How can I surrender and slip into the liminal space in my unconscious and then still feel that I am building myself up and building a sense of value, building a sense of self-worth? It's letting go, surrendering to win, surrendering to earn, surrendering to profit in a way. So, really letting go of all of expectations right now, Aquarius and Aquarius risings. And I only have to think about Khloe Kardashian, who's just had that, one thing after another with that cheating partner and probably learned so much about relationships as a Cancer she is. Anyway, another celebrity example, Christina Aguilera, another Aquarius rising as well, who just kind of came back out of adversity almost, didn't she, Christina Aguilera? Anyway. Last sign is Pisces, Pisces rising. And Pisces rising has right now a new moon in the house of community and connection to the big wide world, their peers, their network, their group of friends. How has your network changed? How has your perception of people in the big wide world or your team spirit, your group, your organization, your thread to, connection to all people, how has it changed through Pluto and Capricorn? You may still have the same friends, but perhaps your perception of the way that the world works has changed, Pisces rising. Like perhaps you now understand your people people in the world around you. Are people toxic sometimes? Yes, they bloody are, Of course, some people are toxic. Who are the friends and the fabric in your community? And this is really about wider networks. I have a community, and sometimes I'm in a room with people in my community, and I think I wouldn't necessarily go for coffee with you, but my goodness, I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad I'm in the room with you. And for the Pisces risings, there is a whole new responsibility that they are taking with Saturn in their sign. They could be feeling wise before their years. They could be feeling old before their time with the weight of the world on their shoulders. However, they are part of a really important fabric and community. And that's all I'm going to say, because otherwise I'm just repeating myself over and over again. So let's just recap. We've been talking about the new moon. We've no longer got Pluto there. So we're kind of feeling a little bit more, we're feeling a bit more free and strategic. We've done the work. We've done a lot of work with Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, 2009. We've got Saturn in Pisces. So we're still doing the work. We're pedaling away at pedalo. We're keeping the gears grinding away, but it seems to me a little bit more flexible. I'm not saying it's easy. The bleak midwinter ain't ever easy, is it, guys? Come on, like I don't know about you, but it's been a bloody hell of a Christmas for me. And I won't go into detail, but my God, I've been through the ringer. So, I'll say I've got an immunocompromised person in my household, and the worry that I've been through Christmas evening through to yesterday was quite considerable. So prayer, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Anyhow, new moon, new year, new beginning for us all, feeling that bit freer, feeling that bit lighter. Shake it off with me. Shake it off with me. Get that movement into the bone structure, into our bodies because it's so earth and so to do with the bodies. Anyway, I just want to mention again, so we've got that new moon in Capricorn. We've got Mars opposite Pluto. Please, everybody be really, really mindful that they're not getting into mortal combat with people over the, first week of January. Literally, the moon will move into Aquarius over the new year, and basically the moon and Pluto will be opposite Mars. I don't like it. It's going to be testy, you know. Anyway, so that's our new moon in Capricorn chart, but it doesn't stop there. Let's just see what this new moon corresponds to. It corresponds to a full moon in Capricorn, which comes June 30th, 2026. In Tokyo, it will be Tuesday morning. So it will probably be Monday for you guys in the other parts of the world. Boy, oh boy, look at how remarkable it is when the full moon is linked up to the gestational lunar cycle. We get an 8-degree sun, we get an 8-degree moon, and that syncs really perfectly with where we're at now, which is 9 degrees. So for you guys with any planets at 8 or 9 degrees, this is your sort of optimum manifestation time. I'm not going to go on too much about this other than to say what we're planting seeds for now will come to fruition in summer 2026. And at that time, we will have Jupiter at the end of its journey through Cancer. It will be Cancer season. Venus will be in Leo. Meow. Beautiful. We'll have a Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Wah, wah. Okay, fine, we can deal with that. But Jupiter will be in Cancer, exalted. So that's really, really nice. And we'll have a very different landscape in terms of Neptune and Saturn, and even Pallas there in Aries. So that will be very, very different. At this time, we will have Mars and Uranus square the North Node in Pisces. So it's kind of similar to the fact that we've got the square from the North Node um, kind of to this full moon. Anyway, slightly different, slightly the same. And action again in Gemini, in the air signs. So very air and water there. But needless to say, this is a time when your current wishes will be coming to fruition. So that's all I wanted to say for this newsletter. I'm hoping that you got something from this or just enjoyed me keeping you company, perhaps while you did your washing up, perhaps while you were driving somewhere. Don't fall asleep. And yeah, feedback is always welcome. I love to know what you guys like, what you guys don't like, and if any of it resonated. Just remember that we've been dealing with Capricorn for so long. This Capricorn energy has been so dominant and so rife. I gave all those examples of the kinds of themes, baby shark, gotta go to work, status and ambition. And I talk about it a lot sometimes on social media. I'm not super present on social media, but I've spoken it before that this Pluto in Capricorn collectively has been sending us messages. This is my take on it anyway. It's been about, for me, realizing or rationalizing what success means to us all, which for some of us, it's about showing up with a polished, preened face, right? I'm successful because I can add Botox to my chin. I'm successful because I can contour with a lip kit and a, Kylie contouring kit. Kylie Jenner being a Capricorn rising, I can afford to buy these clothes, or I'm working from home, or whatever that success means to a person. How has Pluto and Capricorn redefined that for you? And, you know, it's been a lot of things for a lot of different people. It's also about being self-defining. There's a lot of feminine energy that I kind of wish I could put into words quickly. Um, but it's not really about being feminine or masculine in that way. Anyway, I won't go on and on and on about it too much, but needless to say, that's the terrain we're in at the moment. We're climbing the mountain at the moment. So stay ambitious, stay the course, redefine your goals for you. Adhere to your own call, answer the call to yourself, look after yourself and each other, as Jerry Springer said. And yeah, until next time, I will love you and leave you. And big hugs and happy fucking new year to you too. I'm so excited for all the changes 2025 is going to bring. They are going to be huge. We're going to be having the change of Neptune to Aries. So much more to come. Stay with me, connect with me for a one-to-one reading, and I hope to bring you many more videos like this. Let's make it happen. Me manifesting now. Big hugs. Mwah.